All right. The quick housekeeping note. These two things, some people had some trouble finding the raise hand feature and the annotate feature. Raise hand feature, I guess some people will click on the the little up arrow. That's not how you find raise hand. You have to click in the middle of it, and then you'll find that button right there so that if you want to read, you click on raise hand, your picture floats to the top, and I can call on you. And then annotate if there's something on the screen that you want to circle or draw or type, then use annotate, and then the bar will pop up that allows you to use the pencil, the text, and some other shapes. All right. With no further ado, let's go ahead and get started then. This is Exodus 6:2. Who would like to begin reading?
Oh, I don't mind.
Angela, go ahead.
And Vaidaber,
Vaidaber.
Vaidaber, and Elohim,
El,
El. Oh,
El.
sorry, go on. Did I say something wrong?
Nope. Sorry. I'll wait for you to finish and then I'll read through it. Go ahead.
Elohim, El, Moshe, Vayomer, Elav, Ani, Adonai.
Very good. Vaidaber Elohim el Moshe Vayomer elav ani Adonai. All right. This is pretty basic. A lot of common vocabulary here. Vaidaber is a Vayiktol form, which is narrative past. Yod tells us that he is the subject, and Elohim agrees with that. Elohim looks plural, it's actually singular. So Elohim spoke, El, preposition to or towards Moshe. And here's another Vayiktol. You can see the Vav Patach Dagesh with another Yod that says he's the subject. Amar spoke or said, and he said, who did? Probably Elohim still. Elav. What's this pronominal suffix?
That's it. Is that the personal, like him?
Yeah. I've with that
Personal.
Bob right there is a pronoun 3ms right there. Av refers to him. So El was to, of him, unto him. All right, here's what he said. Ani Adonai. I am the Lord. All right, that was a pretty good start, pretty simple. This one right here, I could make it. In fact, I have made an entire teaching out of it. Who would like to read this one here? Remember, if anyone wants to read, put your hand up, your virtual hand up under, what is it, reactions, and then your picture will float to the top, and I can call you to read. Aziz, I see that your
I
hand is
can
up.
read, but I
Aziz.
don't find
All
the
right.
hand.
Okay, sorry. So Aziz put a hand up, so you'll get the next one, Thomas.
Okay.
Aziz, want to read?
Now?
VaEra الأبراهام إسحاق يعقوب وإل وإل شداي وشمي أدوناي لو نودعتي لهم.
Very good. Okay. For those of you who know cantillation marks, where's the halfway point of this verse? Nobody knows
Is that
cantillation.
the Shad?
Shaddai, exactly. The
Shaddai,
one that
yeah.
looks kind of like a wishbone right there. That's your logical halfway point of the verse. Now, in this presentation, I'll put a space after a strong disjuncting cantillation mark, meaning something like a comma or a period or a colon or a hyphen. So this tells you to pause a little bit. This tells you to pause a little bit. And this one, well, that's the logical halfway point of the whole verse. Good. So that means the whole verse could be logically broken down into two parts. VaEra is the name of this or yesterday's parasha. Remember the parashot? There are 54 of them. We read them throughout the year. Here's where we get the name of this week's parasha. VaEra. What form is this? What binyan is this? What root is this? Anyone's welcome to answer.
Ra'a.
Good. The root is, we only get to see an aleph. The third root letter historically was a yod, but most people, if you ask them what the root is, they'll say it's a hey. Well, the hey's a mater lectionis. It's a vowel letter. The root is resh aleph yod. All right, what form is it? This vav with the kamatz right here tells you what form it is. Usually when we have a vayiktol, there's a vav with a patach under it and a dagesh in the next root letter, in the next letter. But here we get aleph. Aleph will not take a dagesh, so it lengthens the preceding vowel. This is a vayiktol narrative past verb. All right, and then last question, aleph, what does it mean? Who's the built-in subject?
For Adonai.
That's okay.
Is
You are correct that
singular.
the explicit subject is Adonai. The aleph here properly is first person common singular. I. So this is the Lord speaking, saying, I did something. And it has to do with narrative past. It has to do with ra'ah, to see. So what does it mean? And I saw? Well, you can see the translation right there. Something's off. And this has to do with binyanim. For those of you who study binyanim, there are 7 of them. They are right here. And the one that we are looking at is actually a nif'al. This means it's going to be some sort of simple action, like looking or seeing, but it's passive.
Does it mean I was seen?
Right, exactly. I was seen. Now here the translation is, and I appeared, which is fine, but that's what it means. It has to be a passive form of a narrative past. Subject is I, root is see, put it all together. And I was seen, and I appeared el, to or unto Avraham. Okay. El Yitzchak, to Isaac. Oh yeah, his son. VeEl Yaakov, and to Jacob. The Samaritan Pentateuch actually puts a vav right here too. Doesn't really change the meaning. Just like this is VeEl, so is that one. All right. I appeared to them, Ba'el Shaddai. Now, the be usually means close, something close. So we usually translate it as with, in, at, by. It could even be against, something that shows closeness. Well, maybe I appeared to them by El Shaddai. Yeah, it really doesn't sound good in English. So you can see that this translator said, yeah, we'll use a different word that sounds better. I appeared to them as El, mighty one, Shaddai, whatever that means. Most people say, oh, yeah, it means almighty, probably from an Akkadian word that means mountain or strength, or from the same root that has to do with supplication. So maybe God who supplies. And then here's the second part. Ushmi, the u is and. Why did it turn into u? Usually and is v. Here it turned into u. Why?
Is it to do with the shin?
No, it has to do
And
with
the
under the,
dash underneath. Yeah.
it has to do with the shva
Yeah, Shiva
underneath.
underneath the
See,
sin. Yeah.
we can't put two shvas in a row at the beginning of a word like this. So Hebrew fixes two shvas at the beginning of a word by turning the first one into a full vowel. And with vav, which was originally a W sound, which is pretty close to an o sound, we get this. Ushmi. Ushmi. The chirik yod at the end says it's mine, and the root is shem, name. And my name, well, you can see that this translation chooses but. You'll see why, because it's making a contrast. I appeared unto these guys as God Almighty, but my name, Yod He Vav He, lo, not, nodati. This is another nifal with a T suffix that says I did it. And the root looks like it's Vav Dalit Ein. Today we would call that Yod Dalit Ein. I say today. Biblically speaking, we would call it Yod Dalit Ein, to know. So it's passive, it's past completed tense, and I did it. I was known. Here they say I did. I revealed. Well, okay. Well, let's go with I was not known, lahem, to them. There's your another pronominal suffix. Okay. So you can see that to those guys, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I was known as El Shaddai, but my name Yod He Vav He, hence the but, I was not known unto them. All right. That's easy enough, right? Somebody please say no. Somebody please say no. Somebody please say no. What about all places in the Bible that talk about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob calling on the name of the Lord? Like the same Yod He Vav He name. How did they know the name? Okay, well, there's three, I guess there are three different solutions to this problem. One, the academic route would say that, well, the Torah was compiled from different sources. Maybe the source over here, Yod He Vav He, wasn't known, and over here it was. And when you compile everything into the Bible, you get contradictory statements. So that's the academic version. Then there's the essentially let's call it Judaism / Orthodoxy / probably even Christian, that says, well, they knew his name. It's just that they didn't know his character. They didn't know the meaning of his name. There was some closeness that God had with Moses that he didn't have with anyone else in the world. Okay, but that's not what the text says. We can kind of put that, we can eisegetically put that interpretation into the text, but it really doesn't say that. I was not known to them by my name, Yod He Vav He. I'm sorry, there are several places where you are known by Yod He Vav He to the patriarchs. So that's let's just call that the Orthodox, maybe the Orthodox interpretation. Option 3, if any of you have seen a video of mine on my YouTube channel, you probably already know the solution to this. I think that there needs to be a slight amendation to the text. Now, I hate doing this. I hate amending the text. I am nobody. Who am I to amend the text? But when I see that there's a problem, I'm trying to find a solution. What's the root of God's name? Well, when God reveals himself to Moses at the burning bush, he says, Ehyeh asher ehyeh. Ehyeh is a verb. It's a yiktol verb that says, I will be. This yod right here, though, is not original. We know from five different places in the Bible and from sister Semitic languages that this yod here was originally a vav, and this is a mater lectionis letter. It's not part of the root. It used to be a yod that went missing. So the root is actually hey, vav, yod. You can see the hey and the vav in God's name. So what's the yod at the front? Yictol prefix. He will be. His name essentially means he will be that which he will be, because he said, I will be that which I will be. Now, my question is, when did Mater Lectionis letters come about? When were they invented? When did they first show up? About the time of King David. Moses was a long time before King David. This hey right here, is it supposed to be there? Or is it supposed to be here? If we just shift this over to the next word, then we get Yod Hey Vav, but that's not God's name. I know. Originally, God's name was Yod Hey Vav. You can see it in all sorts of names like Eliyahu. Where's the final hey? It's not there. Why? Because it's a Mater Lectionis. It didn't exist yet. So it's possible that when somebody was going through adding Mater Lectionis letters into the text, because certainly they exist in the text today, somebody added them. So whoever added or is going through adding, they said, that must belong to Yod Hey Vav Hey instead of belonging to hello. Anybody know what the word hello is? It's not hi, how you doing? Lo means not, and hello means something like didn't. If that hey belongs to this word over here, and remember, the text originally was cram all the letters together, and somebody had to go in and add spaces, and they would also add Mater Lectionis letters. Well, here, when they added the space, they put it in the wrong place. Instead of putting it there, they put it here. Now read the text. I appeared unto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as El Shaddai, and my name Yod Hey Vav Hey, didn't I reveal it to them? All of a sudden, completely different meaning. Now, I'm not trying to just, cherry pick here. I actually have multiple reasons to believe this is the case. This is just a couple of them. But anyway, if anyone has any comments, questions about either the Hebrew or that interpretation, you're welcome to bring it up now. Otherwise, we'll go to the next reader on the next slide. All right, Thomas, do you want to read?
Okay. I have a question because you use abbreviation, also Abkürzung. Like I don't find it. Okay, sometimes you use abbreviation. Okay, CS is common singular, and the first one was L. CS. What that?
First.
First. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, that's okay. I read, yes?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Vegam hakimoti et beriti itam latet laham et eretz Kenaan et eretz megureihem asher garu bach.
Very good. V'gam hakimoti et briti itam latet lahem et eretz Canaan et eretz megureihem asher garu bach, or excuse me, garu vah. This vowel right here causes this to lose the weak dagesh, so it's garu vah. All right, what do you recognize?
Gam is also or even
right. So this is an interesting aspect to what I was saying earlier, how didn't I reveal my name to them? See, here's the thing. If I say I did not do this, And I also did this and I also did this, therefore I'm going to do this. It doesn't make any sense, but that's what's happening here. Here's the first, and even, or I also, whereas if it were option 2, haven't I revealed my name to them? And even, or also, I have done this and that. So vegam and also, or even, hakimoti. What is the root of hakimoti?
Boom.
Kum.
Yes.
That's very strange looking kum. But does anybody know what binyan this is? Let's start with an easy question. What's the suffix on the end?
I.
T says
T.
get
Oh.
it.
Okay.
It's a
This-
lufal, isn't it?
It's not. Hufal would have an oo vowel. This is an
Oh.
ah. In the
The
Yiddish
second person.
form, what's that?
Singular.
This is
Second person singular.
first. This is
Yeah,
first.
first, second. Oh,
So
first.
I remember
yes.
in German, you write your ones like this.
Oh, yes.
That's the confusion.
Okay.
The first person common singular.
Yes.
So I did something. This is a he feel verb. The hey at the front means it's causative. I cause to rise. Cause to rise. What's that? To establish. And I even, or I also established it. Direct object marker tells us what receives the action of the verb. Here's your verb. What's the object? It points to it. Here it is.
Great.
Briti.
Great.
Chirik yod on the end says it's
My. Mhm.
Brit is a covenant. And then itam, you get a pronominal suffix am. To whom does am refer?
Them.
That's right. Third masculine plural them. It is the construct form of another aleph tav word, et, that means with. We covered it in we saw it last week, I think. Okay, little pause right here with those 2 dots on top called zakef katon. So you pause for just a second when you're reading and then keep going. Latet lahem. What is latet?
I don't know.
The lamed is the suffix, the prefix for to or far. Yeah.
That's right. 2 or 4.
Natan.
We're missing 2.
And Latan, that would be Natan.
We're missing 2 root letters. There should be a noon right there. There should be a noon right there. And then this tav on the end used to exist on all what's called infinitive forms, infinitive construct forms. The word infinitive construct is essentially Hebrew's way of saying to do something. To run, to walk, to jump, to give. Natan is to give. But instead of how would it be? Lintont or something like that. Lintont. Both of the noons are weak letters. They assimilate at the end of a syllable. So where are your noons? Gone, gone. Bye-bye. And so instead, latet is the form to give. We can find some other verbs, like this one right here is more regular. Lishmor, this is also going to be the to do something form, to guard. And it looks a lot different, very much different than this latet. That's because this one's irregular. Okay, to give, lahem, to them, et, direct object marker, eretz Canaan. Canaan, does anyone know what Canaan means? I mean, we know the land Canaan, Canaan. It's a proper name. It's a proper noun, right?
That the land of milk and honey.
Yeah, no. Right. So Moses calls it the land of milk and honey, flowing with milk and honey. But Canaan, the word Canaan, comes from the root kana, which has to do with trading, like doing business. We get to see this word popping up other places in the Bible where it does not refer to the land of Canaan. And it has to do with merchants and selling and trading. So the land of Canaan evidently had Canaanites who were merchants. Okay, now there's going to be a restatement of the land of Canaan. Et eretz megurehem. Okay, so land of Canaan and land of megurehem must be the same thing. We know eretz is land. It's in construct form with the next word. So we're going to add the of here, the land of. What's the root of megurehem?
Is it from?
Lagur, probably.
Yes, lagur, but it's school.
Okay. So the root is gul, and the mem at the front cannot be the from mem because
it's a participle.
Right, exactly. The from would require you would expect a chirik with a dagesh in the next letter, or if it's a guttural, then it would have tsere. So that can't be from, but it is. It does look like a participle, doesn't it? Megurehem. It belongs to them. The yod here tells us that it is plural. The root is gur, and the mem turns it into either a noun, some sort of a substantive. So whether it's a noun, whether it's a participle, it's a substantive. So we're treating it like a noun. Their sojournings. Because gul means to dwell. So megurehem would be their dwellings, their sojournings. Okay, Asher tells us more information about it. Asher garu va. All right, what's the root of garu? The same. Yeah, absolutely. Instead of seeing that oo show up in the completed tense in the katal verbs, if that middle letter is a vav or a yod, it disappears. What? Why? Why do these letters just keep disappearing? Well, because they're weak. In level C Hebrew, that's when you start to see weak letters. Yod, vav, and nun are weak letters. I'll give you the reasoning though. If this were a strong verb, it would look something like this. Something like this. I realize that would go to a shva, so please don't nitpick here, but gavaru, right? Well, remember, vav was originally a W sound. So gawaru, this awa right here, is what's called a triphthong. It's 3 vowels in a row. Historically, Hebrew loves to simplify triphthongs. So instead of saying gawaru, you just say garu. And that's how it got enshrined into Hebrew spelling. Garu. Where's the W? I'm sorry, it stopped being pronounced before the alphabet was invented.
Yeah.
Same thing happens with the yod, like shir. If you want to say they sang, well, that would have originally been something like shayaru. And this aya, another triphthong, simplifies down and turns into sharu. All right, garu, wait a second, it says they were strangers. Is that a good translation? Yeah, it's pretty good. The u says they did it. The root gul means to dwell, so they dwelt. But yes, a ger, which is a noun deriving from this same root, is someone who is from a different place and dwells in a foreign place in a period of time. So yeah, a stranger, a sojourner. So yeah, they were strangers or they sojourned. Va. There's your pronominal suffix kamatz hey. What's the dot in the middle called?
A dagesh.
Not a dagesh.
No, it's not a dagesh. It's the
mapip.
Mapik. So even though it looks exactly like a look, this is a dagesh up here. This is a dagesh over here. Don't those look identical to this? It's a dagesh. No, it's not, because a dagesh never shows up in gutturals. Oh, it never shows up in gutturals. Okay, so we're going to give it a new name. Well, it has a different job too. It doesn't change the sound per se of this letter. It lets you know that it's a consonant rather than a vowel. I mean, when we get a hey at the end of a word, it usually tells us there's a vowel at the end. Well, this is not a vowel. It's a consonantal hey. Bah, or excuse me, va. And that breathy sound at the end would let somebody know, oh, that's a pronominal suffix, 3fs, her, in her. Who's the her? To what does that refer?
The land.
Very good. The land is feminine. So bah is also feminine. That they sojourned in her, in it. Now, it's a little awkward for English speakers to say the land which they sojourned in it. So what will usually happen in English is we'll take this in it and put it back over here, in which, referring to her, in which they were strangers. All right, any questions on this? Furthermore, if anyone wants to read, be sure and put your hand up in the reactions button. And Dina, do you want to read or do you have a question?
No, I don't have a question, but I don't know if Jessica.
Jessica, do you want to read or do you have a question?
Read.
All right. I don't know which of you had your
You
hand
can
up.
read first. I don't.
Okay, Jessica, you'll get this one and then the next verse for Dina.
Okay. V'gam ani shamati et na'akat b'nei Yerushalem.
Not quite.
Wait. Oh, Yisrael.
That's right.
Asher Mitzrayim Ma'avidim Otam Va'ezekor
Mhm.
Ezkor
Yep.
at Beriti.
Excellent. All right. Did you understand everything? Here, let me read through it and then we'll go through it. Vegam ani shamati et na'akat b'nei Yisrael asher Mitzrayim ma'avidim otam va'ezkor et briti. All right. What do we recognize in here? There's your pronoun, ani, who am ani.
First person.
Right, that's the speaker, the first person common singular. Vegam, we saw that earlier. And also shamati. What's the suffix?
T.
I did it. T. What did I do? Shama.
Heard.
What did I hear? Et answers the question. Here it is. Na'akat b'nei Yisrael. These three words next to each other. What is this called?
Construct chain.
Yeah, construct chain. So there's an of relationship when nouns are right next to each other. So when we go to translate this, we put an of between it. Na'akat is, you can see it right there, the groaning of. B'nei, the sons of, this is from Banim, but it's in construct. B'nei Yisrael, of Israel. Asher, what does Asher do? Tells us more information about what we just read. You can see that the translator chose whom, which is a great translation, but we don't always know how to translate Asher until after we've read. So I recommend translating it as that until you know better. All right. Israel, that Mitzrayim, that's Egypt. What is it? I think in Arabic it's Masr or something, Masr. Mitzrayim has the same root. In Hebrew, we've got a dual suffix on the end. What? Two of them? Egypt is two of them? Well, same thing happens in Jerusalem, Yerushalayim. A lot of cities have this ayim on the end, which means there's two. How do you say two hands? Well, we know hand is yad. So
Yadim.
Hands.
Yadim.
No, yadayim.
Yadim. Yeah.
It's this ayim right here that I'm trying to focus on. This says not that it's plural, but that there are two of them. It's a dual plural. So how do you say two legs?
Raglaim.
Very good. Ragel is the original form of regel, and raglayim says there are two of them. Okay, why? Because there are two parts of Egypt? Well, maybe one side over here, the Nile splits right through the middle. There's this side and there's that side. Maybe because Jerusalem was two major sides, like an old Jerusalem and a new Jerusalem. You can speculate, but a lot of cities and country names will be in the dual. All right, here though, Mitzrayim is the land of Egypt, but you can see that it's referring idiomatically to the Egyptians. Why? Because of the verb ma'avidim. What's the root here?
Ayin Rash Dalet.
Ein bet dalet.
Yeah, Dalet. Yeah.
Avad, or avad means he worked or served. Eved, a servant or a slave. So the root has to do with working. And then there's a ma in the front. So the mem tells you it's a participle. And the sound tells you what binyan it is. It's he, fil, causative. Participle gives us an ing translation. Someone is doing something. He feel is causative. Put it all together. It means they are causing work. You're making someone work. In English, we call that slavery. So the Egyptians caused them to work. We're causing them to work. Causing them to, they enslaved them. Va'ezkor, oh, sorry, there's your logical halfway point. This symbol is called etnach. Halfway point. So there's a pause here. Va'ezkor, what's the root?
Zayin, Kaf, and a Rosh. Resh.
I'm glad you all remembered. What's sorry. I'm a dad. What's the
First
root?
common singular.
Yeah, right. Aleph is first common singular. I will do it. So why is it translated in the past here?
Oh.
Oh, it's an easy question. It's a vayikol.
Oh yeah, it's
Right.
yeah.
We can't put the dagesh in the aleph.
Simple past.
So it turns it into a narrative past.
Narrative.
So I did remember, or here they have, I have remembered. Remembered what? It says, here it is. Briti, my covenant. All right. Any comments or questions on this verse before we move on to the next one?
Yes.
Yes. Thomas.
Yeah. What means yadei or yadim?
Okay, so there is no yadim, unfortunately. I mean, grammatically, there could be. It would just mean hands. But the word yadayim became so prevalent that even if we're talking about, I know this sounds gross, but like a bag full of hands, you would still call them yadayim, even though there's more than one. I don't know why you'd have a bag, but maybe everybody puts their hands in the middle. That's a better picture. So there is no yadim in Hebrew anymore. Yadayim became the only way to talk about plural, even though it's technically dual. Now, there are some words which have a singular, a dual, and a plural, especially units of measure. What's a day? It's yom. What are 2 days? Yomayim. Yomayim. What are bunches of days? Yamim. We lose the vav. Why? Because of the same reason that we talked about earlier, triphthong simplified down. Let's see, what else? Oh, units of measure, like an amma is a cubit, amatayim, 2 cubits, and then amot, lots of cubits.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Okay. Dina, would you like to read?
Sure. לכן אמור לבני ישראל, אני אדוני, והוצאתי אתכם מתחת סבלות מצרים, והצלתי אתכם מעבדתם, וגאלתי אתכם בזרוע נטויה, ומשפטים גדולים.
Very good. לכן אמור לבני ישראל, אני אדוני, והוצאתי אתכם מתחת סבלות מצרים, והצלתי אתכם מעבודתם, וגאלתי אתכם בזרוע נטויה ובשפטים גדולים. All right. I have done this, I have done this, I have done this. We've been reading. Therefore, this is the conclusion to everything that God is telling Moses. Lachen, to thus. Yeah, that doesn't sound good in English. Let's call it therefore. To this thing that has already been established. Remember, ken, the root of ken is establish. So to that which has been established, therefore. Emor. What kind of a verb is emor? What form is that?
Is it? It's simple. This the first one. The call. The call.
It's a kal binyan. That's right. That's the binyan. But what form is it?
Is it affirmative action?
It could be an infinitive construct. An infinitive would have an a vowel. This one has a reduced vowel. So infinitive construct would look like this. Absolutely. It's not. Unfortunately, it's not. There's another form that looks like this too.
It's yiktol.
Let me ask a different question. Ask a different.
There's another one that look. Yeah, I can't remember the name. There's two that very similar.
This one right here. What form is this one right here?
More. Oh, that's what's it called?
Sorry, I didn't mean to put the O there. I meant to put it here.
Imperative.
Tomar. Good. So tomar is yiktol because it has a yiktol letter there. But in order to create the imperative, we lop off the tav. That's this form. Now, unfortunately, R is extremely irregular, so the vowels don't make sense. But in general, yeah, the imperative lops off the tav, the yiktol tav. So God's telling him, say, livnei Yisrael. Now, this should be le v'nei, but we can't have two shvas. Hebrew fixes it, puts a chirik there. To the sons of Israel. And then here's where a quote starts. Ani Adonai.
I am God and the Lord.
Vehotzeti. All right. This is similar to a verb we saw earlier. What form is this verb?
Is that Ifil?
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. So Hifil is the binyan. Keep.
And it's in Yiktol.
It's not Vayiktal, it's Vekatal. I think Jessica said Vekatal. Vekatal. All right. So it's a Hifil causative. It's Vekatal, which tells us that it looks like a past tense, but it's actually a future. This looks like a katal, but then you add vav to the front, and all of a sudden it magically flips the tense. What? Yep, we call that vekatal. All right. And what person, gender, number is it, and what root is it? Does it have?
The root is yatsa.
The root is yatsa. Originally, probably watsa, hence the vav right here. But in the dictionary today, it would be under yod, yatsa, which means to go out. And what person, gender, number?
First person, common, singular.
Right, there's that T again. I did it. First person, common, singular. So I call, sorry, vekatal is future. I will cause going out. That one word. I will cause going out. I will bring them out. Sounds better. Etchem tells us whom he's going to bring out. You all. All right, and then mitachat. What is mem here?
Participle.
Not a participle.
Mean.
From.
It has to be from because
Yeah, because the dagesh is, yeah.
Yep. Those things right there tell us
Yeah.
what used to be the full form min, and the noon disappeared in dagesh. So mitachat, tachat means under. Number tochas. Tochas is your bottom side. This is where it comes from. Mitachat, from under, sivlot, sevel, savlanut. Those of you who have taken modern Hebrew, what is savlanut? Patience. Savlanut, savlanut. It comes from the root sevel, which is a burden. Sivlot would be the burdens of Mitzrayim, Egypt. Vehitzalti. All right, let's do the same thing that we did earlier with vehotzeti. Let's do it with vehitzalti. Binyan.
Vehitical. Binam is
Feel. What's he feel?
He feel. Okay, so
And
far
it's-
we got the same one. What's the suffix on the end?
first person common singular.
That's right. I did it. And then the root.
Natsal.
Clever, clever.
Yes, the
See,
nun.
yes, right there. You know something's missing. It's probably a nun. Nun tzadi lamed. Natsal. I will rid. I'm not sure that I would have translated it as I will rid you out of their slavery, but clever. It's no, not clever. Creative. It's creative. And this is going to be like rescuing. I will rescue you all. What's this mem?
From.
That's from.
Has to be a from. Why is it tzere instead of chirik?
Because of the ayin.
Ayin. Can't put a dagesh in it. Me avodatam. Avodah is work. Avodatam says their work, their slavery. Now, why is the stress of the word in vehitzalti and vehotzeti, and in fact the next word here too, why is the stress at the end? When we learn these words in like level A, the stress should go here. Ga'alti. But here it's vega'alti. Why?
Ultimate. There's two stresses. It's either at the beginning or the one before the end, isn't it?
Well, when we think of here, let me show where do we have it. Where's my verbs? Here's my verbs. Can I scooch this right here? Yeah, look at this. Usually with you did something, or I did something, or we did something, I put a little mark right here to let you know there's penultimate stress. We expect the stress to be right before the last syllable. So that would be ga'alti. But look at the stress mark. Look at the cantillation mark. It's right here. It's shifted. That's my question. Why? Because it's a vekatal.
Okay.
Vekatal, unfortunately, will switch the stress to the end in first person common singular and second masculine singular, second masculine singular forms. It's another way of letting you know that you're looking at a vekatal form. Here, let me ask you a question. Let's assume for a second that this was not here, but rather that the stress was right here. Does that change the meaning of the word?
Vega'alti.
Vega'alti means something different than vega'alti, because vega'alti is a katal future verb, whereas vega alti is a katal verb that has a vav at the front. There's a difference because katal is past and vekatal is future. So if the stress were right here, it would be, and I redeemed. But because the stress is moved over here, it lets us know this is a vekatal. It turns it into future vega'alti, and I will redeem etchem, you all. Bizroa, there's your be. Hebrew fixed the two shvas, put a chirik, in or with or at or by. Zroa. Zroa is an arm. What's the root?
Zayin, Resh, and Ayin.
Does anybody know the word zera?
Seed or offspring.
How does the word zera relate to zroa? How does seed relate to arm?
Because seed is like, the arm is like this, the seed is offspring, like the arm, in it, the arm of the back.
So this is something, this is a really cool, I like this question because people will come up with these creative solutions. And in fact, somebody on the WhatsApp or on the Telegram group asked me, so they said, please put together a teaching on like roots and how you can understand the meaning of words based on the letters that comprise them, that sort of thing, which I unfortunately don't really believe in. I get it, some people do, but there's an entire study that says you can tell what a word means by the letters that comprise it. So that means these two things, we have to come up with a creative solution to make these related. How is zera related to zroa? Newsflash, it's not.
Okay.
This letter zayin right here represented two consonants originally. One of them was a Z sound, this one, and one of them was a
T.
th sound, almost like a th, th, zroa, zroa. It was two completely different consonants. These two roots are unrelated. Now, what I just told you is a level E concept, but I really, really like it when my introductory students will learn this early on, because then when you look at words that appear to be the same root, yet they seem completely different in meaning, you can provide an answer. I think we might have mentioned something similar with ra and rea. Ra is bad. Rea is a friend. How can we have the same root for such completely different words? Well, that's the thing. It's not the same root. Ra is from, well, excuse me, rea is from ayin 1, and rea, excuse me, the first one, ra, is from ayin 2. Two completely different letters that ultimately came to be represented by the same letter ayin. All right, and then the last word, netuya. What's the ah at the end?
A directional?
Mm.
Oh, well, they must be she then.
It's a feminine. It's a feminine.
Third person feminine.
It's a feminine adjective. I'm calling it an adjective, even though some of you may know better. I'm calling it an adjective because it's describing zroa, an arm that is netuya, outstretched, an outstretched arm. But there's actually a more technical name for this word than adjective. Does anybody know what it is?
Passive participle, that's what I was asking.
Beautiful. Yes, it is a passive participle. So a participle is some ongoing action. A passive participle says that that action has been done to it. So rather than an arm that is outstretching, it is an arm that has been outstretched, meaning the person who's attached to the arm went, stretch out, ding, done. So this ooh right here lets us know it's passive. So what's the root?
Nun tet he.
I would say yod, but yeah, nun tet yod is the original root, and here it preserves the yod because it's not at the end of the word.
Yeah.
All right, so what's the difference between shover and shavur? This shavur is the passive participle, and shover is the active participle. What's the difference in meaning? What's shover? Well, if it's an active participle, it means someone is actively doing the action of shava, which is to break. So breaking, shover. What then is shavur?
Broken.
Broken. Somebody has already acted on it and now it is lying there broken. Exactly. So that ooh right there is what you're looking for in passive participles. Okay. Any comments or questions on this verse? All right. Who wants to read next?
Well, man, unless somebody else who hasn't gone yet want to go.
Okay. Well, does anyone who hasn't read want to read? Otherwise, Angela will. Anybody? It's an open invitation. This is the more you get involved, the more it helps you out. Okay, Angela, go ahead.
I read, but I'll read again too at some point.
All right,
Velak-
Angela first, and then
velak-
Jessica after this.
And velakati,
Velakachti,
et kem li
li,
wasn't quite sure. Leham and yiti lakem leloim. Oh, leloim.
lelohim, right?
Yeah. Vidatem
Vidatem,
ki ani Adonai Elohim Elohim Amosi Etikem
etchem,
and mit at
mitachat,
mitahat and sivlot rahim.
good, Mitzrayim. All right, I will read it through one time, and then we'll go through this. Velakachti etchem li la'am v'hayiti lachem lelohim v'da'tem ki ani Adonai Elohechem hamotzi etchem mitachat sivlot Mitzrayim. Why is there a kamatz here? Didn't I just say that the dual suffix is ayim with a patach? Why is it a kamatz?
The shva, maybe?
I didn't hear you say again.
Oh, the shva before it?
It's not. It's because we're looking at a pausal form. And the difference between, let me show you, like the difference between eretz and aretz. This ah sound is more original. When the word eretz shows up at the end of a verse, it shows up as aretz. Well, eretz is a very special word because it also shows up as aretz like most of the time. Like when you add a ha in front of it, haaretz. Well, what about other words like nefesh? The word nefesh, if you see it at the end of a verse, it will be nafish. Why? Because it's preserving a more original vowel in those pausal forms. Wait. What's the purpose of a pausal form? Well, remember that reading the Bible was originally someone, a scribe or a reader, somebody up front reading to a congregation, and not everybody has a Bible that they can flip open and look to. So by having these pausal forms, it lets the congregation know we just got to a major breaking point, equal to like a comma or a period. So if someone is reading and they say Mitzrayim, now I exaggerated a little bit, but by making that vowel long, everyone in the congregation goes, oh, that was the end of the verse. Pausal forms. You'll get to see more on pausal forms as we run into words that change significantly for their pausal forms, but that was the purpose. Okay, velakachti. There's that final stress. So the vav must be changing the tense. Vekatal. So I will lakach. I will take. Etchem. Take whom? You all. Li, for me or to me. To or for a people. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Right? Am is a people. So li la'am, both of these words have a lamed at the front. This showcases how lamed can be to or for. I will take you all to me for a people. V'hayiti, now you can see that the translation says, I will be. The root is hey yod yod, better known as hey yod hey. T says, I did it, and Vav says, I will do it. Well, yeah, but didn't you just say that the stress is supposed to be on the end like that? Supposed to be. Why isn't it like this one? I don't know. There are places where you'll see it right here instead. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. V'hayiti lachem, to or for you all, le'elohim, for literally God, for God. So we get kind of a parallel structure here. I will take you all to me for a people, and I will be to you for a God. Vidatem. Who is the subject if the suffix is tem?
And them, your.
You all, right. You all. The root is yada, and vav at the front changes it to vekatal, future tense. Well, wait a second. Where's the vowel on the yod? Aha. If we take ye datem with a shva and we add v to the front, we have a problem. Shva shva. How does Hebrew fix it? Turns the first one into a chirik, right? So now we get chirik yod. Oh, chirik yod is already a vowel. So rather than putting a shva here, it simply leaves it as a chirik yod, vidatem. Now this little symbol here lets you know as much. It says, now this wasn't an original chirik yod. It was actually two separate things, but now it is. The root yada, to know. You all will know. Ki.
That.
Good. 3 different definitions for ki. It can tell you because, it can tell you when or since, and it can give you the content of a statement. What do you know? I know that. Here it comes. Here comes the content. I know that. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
I am the Lord.
I, the Lord, your God. Where's the verb to be?
In it.
It's missing.
Implied. It's implied.
Implied. Yeah, literally in Hebrew, I, the Lord, your God. But it has to be a complete sentence. So we have to supply a verb in English to make it make sense. I am Adonai Elohechem. Ha motzi etchem. Oh, wow. Ha. This is definite article, right? Where's the? I don't see it.
And
What's
is
happening?
it the woo? Is it the who?
Exactly. It's the who. So the definite article can act like the word asher if there's an adjective that it's describing the thing with. So which Elohim, which Elohechem, the one motzi, bringing. So here it translates it as who brings or who is bringing. Again, this is a causative verb from the root yatsa. There's your vav tzadi aleph. But where's your patach? If it's causative, there should be a patach there. The Hifil loves the patach. Where is it? What sound does this make? Ow. Ow. It's a diphthong.
Oh,
What did
okay.
Hebrew do? It simplified it. So instead of saying originally mao like this, mautzi, it simplified it into motzi. So we don't get a patach. This is an irregular verb with the yod at the front or original vav at the front. It's what's called a pei yod or originally pei vav verb. It means that pei, the first letter, pei represents the first letter, was a vav or is a vav. Pei vav verbs.
I have a question.
Yes, question.
So if you want to remove the hey completely, and you
Mhm.
just want to turn this into like a participle without the hey, right? Matzi or what?
No, you just take off the hey patach dagesh. Motzi.
Matzi? Okay.
Motzi. Yeah, the problem here is that the owl simplified down. So this he feel verb no longer has a patach because of that vav.
So the patach is gone anyway, it doesn't matter.
It is gone, doesn't matter.
And this is for all the things that all the verbs that have
Yeah, all the verbs that have an original vav at the front will do this. Now there are some verbs that had an original yod, not an original vav.
Okay.
And those are going to retain their yod. Let's see, for example,
Huda. Okay, wait.
hetev. Hetev. There you go. The root yitav, which we know better as tov, started with an original yod. So in the he feel, it's going to be hetev.
And the participle will be what? Yativ? Yeah.
Metiv.
Motif.
Let me write that out. So the yod causes the vowel to turn into tsere instead of chirik, and then there's your chirik yod of hifil, metiv. So this means one who is causing or doing good.
Okay.
So this root had an original yod. Most verbs, though, that we think start with a yod originally started with a vav. Hamotzi, the one who brings, the one who is causing to come out. Etchem, you all. Mitachat, from under. Sivlot, the burdens of. Mitzrayim. End of verse. All right. Any comments, questions, feedback?
No, I like just concentrating on the reading.
All right. Jessica, do you still want to read next? Nobody has a hand up except for Angela. Is that from earlier? I think it's from earlier.
That's from earlier, so yeah.
Okay, the Hevti
Mhm.
Etchem
That's right.
El Haaretz Asher Nasati Et Yadi Latet Ota Le'avraham Leyitzhak Yitzhak ule Yaakov venatati ota lachem morasha ani Adonai.
Excellent. Only that little thing right there. You want to read this word again?
Venatati.
Okay, instead of putting the stress on the first tav, put it on the last one. Venatati.
Venatati.
That's it. And that stress right there tells you that it flips the tense and makes it future. I will do something. All right. How much of that did you understand, Jessica? Probably most of it.
If I go back and look at it, I
Yeah,
might.
of course. Oh, sorry, I haven't read it yet. Let me read through one time, then we'll start that discussion. Keep forgetting to do that. Veheveti etchem el haaretz asher nasati et yadi latet otah leAvraham leYitzchak uleYaakov venatati otah lachem morasha ani Adonai. All right. What's the first word right there? Veheveti. What's the root of it?
Lavo,
Ba.
not lavo, was I'm sorry.
Ba.
לבוא,
Ba.
זה בסדר. לא, אין בעיה, לבוא. בית וו א'. So
Yeah.
this is going to be to come, to approach, to something like that. The hey makes it what, Binyan?
I
He
would
feel.
also think so.
He
If
feel.
you not if you
No,
yeah,
it
if
is you feel. Yeah, hey at the
you
front.
feel.
Feel. Absolutely. He at the end says, who did it?
Yeah.
I did. And Vav at the front,
Says in
Vekatal.
relative past.
Vekatal, flips the whole thing. And I will cause to come you all. I will cause you all to come. El haaretz.
To the land. Oh, into the land. Oh yeah, because
To
it's
the
a heaven.
land, into the right. The difference between to and into in English is that into shows movement.
Yeah.
So he's bringing them. You're seeing it happen. El haaretz. Asher, more information about
The land.
Right. Exactly. Nasati. Nasati. What is that?
Well, it says I swear, but oh yeah, the eyes at the end.
Why is it
I
like
saw.
I live?
Maza.
I saw.
I swear. Nee.
Okay, so the T at the end says
It's a
I.
cow.
So
Yeah,
what's the root?
it's a cow, isn't it? It's
A cow.
is it cow? Yeah.
It's a cow. The root is nun sin aleph. What's the meaning of nun sin aleph?
I lifted or something.
Rise, rise.
A lifted,
Yeah.
a bear, carry. When we read in the Bible that Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the mountain, that's nasa. So he lifted up et yadi.
Hands, his hands.
Singular or plural?
His hand. Singular.
Right. If it were plural, what would it be?
Die.
Time.
Well, the e means it's mine. Ayi means it's mine, but it's plural. Yadai, absolutely. So here he's saying, I raised, lifted, carried, bore my hand. What does that mean? Well, it's like, I swear I'll do something. That's kind of the picture that we're getting here. So that's why the translation chooses this, even though that's not what nasa means. Translators are doing the thinking for us. Well, they try to. I lifted up my hand, latet, we saw this earlier, to give, otah, her, right?
Yeah,
That
right.
A with the mafik again. Otah, to give her. Her, who's her?
Yeah,
Who's she?
The land. The
Uh-uh.
land. The land.
Exactly. So whenever we get this word asher, we expect the antecedent to show up somewhere inside of the dependent phrase, the relative clause. Let's see. So I have to figure out where it ends. Wow. I guess it ends. Is that right? No. Goes there. Okay. So somewhere inside of here, we need to have a reference back to the word haaretz. Here, ladies and gentlemen, is the reference back to the land. You want to tell me more about the land? That's fine, but you have to refer back to it somehow. There it is. So maybe we would translate it a little bit differently, well, no, because it's a direct object. English doesn't translate that differently. Okay. That I lifted my hand to give her LeAvraham, to Abraham, LeYitzchak,
To Isaac.
Okay, did God ever give the land to these guys?
No.
Never.
No.
They were sojourners.
Yeah.
They were sojourners in the land. They never possessed. Now, granted, Abraham did buy a little stuk of land. Jacob did buy a little stuk of land. I get it, but they never got the whole land.
And they never got rid of everyone anyway that they were meant to.
This is a verse that Pharisaic Judaism would use to prove the resurrection of the dead does occur in the Torah. There's this big controversy dating back to the Pharisees and the Sadducees. The Sadducees say, we only read the Torah, and nowhere in the Torah does it talk about resurrection, so we don't believe in the resurrection. Pharisees, on the other hand, they read not just the Torah, but also the prophets, and there was resurrection in the prophets. So then the question becomes, well, if Moses is more authoritative, then where does resurrection show up in the Torah? And so this is one of the verses that Pharisaism would use. They would say, well, God swore to give the land to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He never did, and now they're dead. So the only way that he can fulfill that promise
is if they rise up
back from the dead. Exactly. There's a similar argument that Yeshua, Jesus, uses in the New Testament. He says that God is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and he is the God
not of the
living,
dead.
not of the dead.
Yeah.
Now, I kind of think that this is still the same principle that Yeshua was getting at, but yeah, so it's an interesting tangent. Vinatati, and I will natan. Where's the noon of the root? You see the first root letter, you see the second one. Where's the third noon of natan?
In the Dagesh.
It's in the Dagesh.
In the Dagesh. So vinatati, and I will give otah, her, the land, lachem, to you all, morasha. This is a noun. What's the root?
Resh. Oh. Resh. It must be Resh Vav. Shin.
This is another case of where mao turns into mo. So the root was originally vav reshin, and we'll know it better as yarash. What is lareshet or yarash?
To inherit.
Mm-hmm. So a morasha is a place of inheriting. Usually when you have a mem at the front and a kamatz hey at the end, you're referring to a place. Does anyone know the word mis'ada?
Is it a restaurant?
Mm-hmm. Mis'ada. The root sa'ad means to dine. Put a mem at the front, hey at the end. You have a place of dining, a restaurant. Ani Adonai, I am the Lord. And this is, why tack this on to the end of the verse? I mean, hasn't he already mentioned that he's the Lord? Why is he doing it over and over?
Just send a message on.
It sends a message. Maybe the message is, I am this God that by the way, I'm the one, I'm he. What if it has to do with the meaning of the name? I am being, I am existing, I'm here. Don't think I'm not. This could go multiple different directions. It's what we call the 70 faces of the Torah. When you read a verse, there are
Lots of meanings.
figuratively speaking, there are many, many facets, many different ways you can look at a verse to try to squeeze out meaning from it. So when you're reading through a verse, try to avoid the pitfall of asking, what's the one true meaning of this verse? I get it. Sometimes there are verses that seem to only have one true meaning. Try not to do that. Try to figure out all of the different things that this verse can tell us, ruling out the ones that don't fit with the theology of the Bible, if I can put it that way, with other statements in the Bible.
I always say there's at least three different interpretation of each verse. I always see, anyway, that's how I've always said, at least.
Yeah, in Judaism, they call it the 70 faces, shiv'im panim shel Torah. Okay, does anyone have a comment or question on this before we move on? Dina?
I have a question. You probably answered that question before, but like
Go ahead.
so Adonai
Oh, your computer is bad.
Your feed is breaking up. I can't hear you anymore.
Type it.
Yeah, try typing it in the comments, in the chat.
No, your computer is really going.
Dina, if you put it in the chat, I'll look for it and we'll answer it. I can come back to it. No problem. Who wants to read next?
Oh, where's all the readers? Is that me?
Does no one want to read? Look, I'm wondering if some people are just a little shy to read. I get it. This is going to be a lot more helpful if you join in and actually look. I don't know. I know that sometimes I'm a little intimidating. I know that. So maybe I'm just intimidating. No one wants to read. I get it.
Call them their names.
I'm not going to say everyone's names. All right. Paulina, do you want to read?
Yes, I will read.
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Vaydaber
Mm-hmm.
Shay Ken El Bene Israel Israel
Hmm?
Velo Shameu El Moshe Mikoze. What is that next one?
Sorry. Mikotzer, and then
Mikoze. Oh, that is on the top.
Mhm. Ruach.
Ruach. So that doesn't pronounce. Okay.
No. Which one do you mean?
There's two dots on the top.
Oh, okay. The two dots on top are accent. So we say ruach. Those are
Okay.
the cancellation mark.
Ume Abora
Da.
Da Kasha.
That's right.
Kasha.
Kasha. Very good. And I want to read this, but first I want to ask Dina. Dina, your computer was acting up. What was your question?
I'm sorry. So my computer, something was wrong with it. So my question is it the name of God, is it in this form? Is it still a verb?
No, as soon as it becomes someone's name, it is now a proper name, even though grammatically speaking, it was originally a verb. My wife's name is Hope, which could be a noun or a verb. I hope so, or I have hope. Is it a verb or a noun now? Well, it's a proper name. So I would answer your question saying the form, yes, it is a verb, but it's a proper name, so it's not a verb anymore.
And do we happen to know the binyan of the verb or no?
Yeah, Kal.
Is it kabin? Okay,
Kal binyan.
thank you.
Absolutely. All right, this verse here that Paulina has read, Vaidaber Moshe, Ken el, sorry, wondering why it said, okay, Vaidaber Moshe, Ken el bnei Yisrael, velo sham'u el Moshe, mikotzer ruach u'me'avoda kasha. What binyan is Vaidaber? Do we know? Anybody?
PL.
Yeah, PL is sort of an intensive action, requires thought and intention and brain power. We can recognize it because of the shva, patach, and dagesh. The root is davar or dover, speaking, a matter, issue. Yod says he, and the vav at the front is vayiktol. And he spoke, that is Moshe did. Ken, he said yes? No, ken is something that has already been established. So thus, the thing that's already been established from earlier, he spoke, El bnei Yisrael, to the children of Israel. Velo shama'u.
And not. And they listen not.
Mm-hmm.
They did not listen,
Exactly.
whatever.
And not, they listened. And they did not listen. El Moshe, to Moses.
To Moses.
Me,
From,
this is from
yeah,
because of the mapik, because of the chirik and the
yeah.
daget, we know this is mean from. So the word here is kotzer. Does anyone know the word katzar? Means short. So kotzer is a noun. It's a seglet noun, much like kodesh or boker. Kotzer. So it's a noun from that root. It is shortness. Shortness of ruach.
Spirit, their spirit.
Okay, maybe it's spirit, maybe it's breath, maybe it's both. Breath is physical. Ruach, spirit, would be more like liveliness. So short of breath or short of liveliness. And me'ume avoda kasha. And because of, now the mem here, from or because of,
The work or slavery.
right. So we've got mem here because of this and because of that. Avoda, work. Kasha, describing that work.
Cruel work.
A noun and its adjective have to agree in gender and number. So we say avoda kasha. Kashe is the masculine form. It means hard or difficult. Here they translate it as cruel. Yeah, okay. Hard labor. All right. We are pretty much out of time now, and I hear that my wife just arrived home from a long trip, so I want to go downstairs and say hi. Thank you all so much for taking part. And I'm still putting together some material for other kinds of courses rather than just the learning Hebrew through the Torah. So thank you to everyone who is supporting, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Lehitraot v'shalom.
Lehitraot.
Lehitraot.
Mm.